In a whole lot of ways, the state of Michigan was integral to the 2020 election and also to Trump's big lie. Those two are related. The ex-president targeted that state as a part of his ploy to subvert the election, from his attempts to pressure, remember, the Michigan Election Board, to sending Rudy Giuliani to the state to make the case the election was stolen in that wild and bizarre hearing. Ultimately, President Joe Biden beat Trump in Michigan by nearly 3%. Like, he won that state pretty handily, actually, given how close some of the other states were. Well, now, 19 months later, we are learning that Michigan State Police have warrants to seize voting machines, along with records related to the 2020 election from several municipalities. According to Reuters, the warrants stem from, quote, the largest known investigation into unauthorized attempts by allies of former President Donald Trump to access voting systems. The warrants include equipment and records from at least 3 towns in 1 county. And joining me now is Jocelyn Benson. She's the Michigan Secretary of State, which means she is in charge of administering and overseeing elections there. This caught my eye when I saw this story today. First, I guess, can you tell us what is the nature of this investigation, what this is all about?
Well, thanks for having me, Chris, and for shining a light on our work here to really get to the bottom of what's going on. The bottom line is, in Michigan, it is illegal for third parties to have unauthorized access to our voting machines. It is illegal for many reasons, in part because we need to secure voting machines prior to every election, and we have one this August. So I asked the AG, our state attorney general, to investigate all attempts to illegally gain access to election equipment in Michigan, to determine first if the equipment can be used in subsequent elections, and also identify those not who have just broken the law, but to see if there are connections and coordination between what's happening in our state and other states, and ensure that we seek full justice and accountability for anyone who is trying to access our machines.
So just to be clear here, the concern is this is post-election, right? This is not anyone going in, changing votes or hacking the machines. This is an attempt by people sympathetic to the big lie or believed it or who were pursuing it for whatever reason to get into the machines to find some like smoking gun evidence that like it had been stolen from Donald Trump. Is that right?
Exactly. And the important thing is that we know after hundreds of audits in our state and local risk limiting audits, that there is no evidence. We have full confidence in the results of our elections. So ultimately, what is happening, we surmise, is an attempt not to jeopardize future elections, but to undermine faith in our system by finding things, claiming that they are somehow evidence of inaccurate election results, wrongly claiming that, and using that, and we've seen this happen in other states, to continue to keep this misinformation out there as a way of causing people to question the results of the election, as you mentioned, and ultimately delegitimize the winners of the past election and potentially future elections.
Yeah, so we've seen in Colorado, I believe, there's one election official, local Republican county election official, who we know granted some access to someone else to go into the machines in pursuit of some evidence of some tampering. This is a state that was not particularly close, by the way, we should note. What evidence is there? I mean, what's the predicate for this? Like, did you get a tip? Like, how? Why?
Well, first, I think it's important to note that the vast majority of clerks in our state are following the law and are refusing these illegal attempts to access. And that's indeed how we found out about them. We work in partnership with over 1,500 clerks in our state to ensure if and when these attempts are made to illegally access our voting machines or other election equipment, that they work with us to protect their systems against those attempts. So by and large, that's what has happened here. And really what we're looking at is to what extent there were attempts and is there coordination between those attempts. But we've also found that the attempts have by and large been blocked. And so I have mostly confidence in the security of our equipment, but that hasn't stopped folks from trying to gain that access in order to potentially claim something that they don't understand that they're finding is evidence of wrongdoing, when in reality, the evidence is non-existent. I'll also emphasize, though, we believe in transparency, right? So we have accuracy testing, full public accuracy testing prior to every election so that citizens acting in good faith can have confidence that the machines are accurately working. And so the challenge is to balance that transparency with protecting against efforts from bad actors to unauthorizedly access our machines.
But the bad actors, I mean, is this like a local MAGA activist who's going to the clerk to be like, hey, let me jump into your election machine right quick just to see where they took all those votes for Brandon to make him president? Like, how's that happening?
I think for this to be happening on such a large scale in our state and potentially other states suggests that it's actually more coordinated than that.
Right.
And just as we see a nationally coordinated attempt to undermine our elections in 2020, of which Michigan was one of several targets, I believe we're seeing again a potentially nationally coordinated effort to attempt to seize access to voting machines in an effort to undermine the public's faith in the process and make people feel as though something is untoward happening. So, this is what we've been dealing with for years in our state and other states, and I anticipate we'll continue to see it evolve in the months ahead.
Yeah, it's a tricky business because the undermining of trust is itself part of the aim, other than, promoting the big lie or subverting an actual outcome. Jocelyn Benson, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.